So in this one, what I'm going to do is just add material to our front doors using some timber textures. So let's get started. I just want to switch on the ground floor doors here, and I'm just going to come around here and select the frame of this door. I'm actually going to drag it back into the house a little bit, just something like that. And I can do the same thing for this one. Select the frame and just drag this back in because I don't want the frame of the door extruding past the house, okay, or the wall I should say. So the first thing to do really is get a material for this doorway. So if I open up the browser, and you could do it maybe a search for textures first. There's a couple of places you can get them. You can get them at textures.com, for example. You could get them at Polygon, and there's also Blender Cloud is listed here. So there's different places to get them. And if I just type in maybe timber textures, we're going to get images here, and there's some good ones you could use. So if you just check tools here, change the size maybe to large, because you're going to need large images to begin with. So minimum maybe of 1024 by 1024, depending on the type of image it is. Okay, and the other thing is, if we go back to all there for a second, the one disadvantage about those images is you don't get height maps, and you don't get your normal map or your roughness or any of that type of map. So if you do get a timber texture from the likes of Google, and you use the program Substance Painter, there is an application that comes with that. It's the bitmap to material. So you can just import your image texture and export all your maps then. So you have roughness, glossiness, normal, height, displacement. You get a whole host of different maps, okay? And that's just a very useful addition to the Substance Painter lineup. So back in Blender then, what I'm going to do is add a material to this. So I want to unwrap this section of the door. I'm just going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to press 1, and I'm going to switch to face selection. Just press A to deselect. I'm going to press C and just paint select this here, and press U and just project from view bounds. If I switch this node editor then to a UV image editor, you can see we have that unwrapped there, okay, and that's what I want. So I'm just going to tab back to object mode, and with this door selected, I'm just going to remove this material from it and create a new one. So I'm going to click new. I'm going to rename this to timber door, okay, and press enter. And if I switch this back to the node editor, I'm just going to move this over here. I'm going to select the diffuse and delete it, and press Shift A, and under shader I'm going to add a principled BSDF. And with this selected, what I'm going to do is use the node wrangler. So I'm just going to press Control Shift T, and that's going to bring me to my texture folder where I have images for this door, okay? So I'm just going to select them all except for the JPEG. Having used the bitmap application from Substance, it's created all these maps for me. It's not going to add them all. I'm just going to select them all and add this in, and it just picks the ones that it can add, okay, which is nice and handy. So if I just Control B and get a border select on this, I can just press Z and render, okay, and we have a nice timber door, nice and easy. So I'm just going to come back to solid, and if I select the frame again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to remove this material from it, and if I click in here, I can type in timber. We can just give it the timber door for the moment and give that a quick render, okay. You might need to do a little bit of work on the UVs, but in general it's not bad. You could actually give it maybe a different timber material or whatever you like. So the next thing I want to do is just come over to this main door. So if I select it, again I'm going to remove the material, and I'm just going to give it that door material. So TIM, get the timber. I'm going to tab into edit mode. Just press A to deselect. I'm going to press C and just paint select all these faces and press U and project from view bounds. So if I want to check my UV image editor, which I think is always a good idea, we have all those panels unwrapped there. So what I can do is just give this a quick render, and that's not looking too bad actually. If you need to, if I press A once or twice down here and select all of this, you can scale this up down here if you need to reduce the size of the timber or if you need to increase it. So I'm going to scale this up a little bit just so it fits in something like this. Okay, it's good enough for the moment. I'm going to come back to solid, tab back to object mode. I'm just going to zoom out. I'm going to press Control Alt B and just remove that border select. And I can press and hold the middle mouse button just to come around. I can select my frame, and again I'm going to remove the 4 materials from that, and just again I'm going to add the timber, and if I press Control B I can just get a border select around the 2 of these, press Z and render it. So I might go ahead and change them up a small bit, but basically that's the process of adding material. I'm just going to come back to solid and Control Alt B that just to get rid of that border. Okay, but that's the front doors at least, and that's going to do it for this one.